Hello YouTube, this is your girl Lizzabitty. Don't forget to please like, share, and subscribe. So today's video is about pharmacies. So I got an interesting question about medical and pharmacies here for people who may be thinking about traveling or something. So first I want to discuss the medical situation here in Dubai, and then I will proceed to move into pharmacies. So if you are here as a tourist, let me just say this. We all could get sick in some capacity, a broken bone, etc., etc. So you always want to make sure that you are prepared. I have been a member of SOS International for quite some time. Typically, companies that you work for may have an add-on plan for that if you are a person that works for them and travel a lot. So you may want to look into SOS International, okay? Because they can help you in the event that you have a catastrophic event and you have to be sent back home, or you need a procedure done here in that regards. Now, in terms of medical, so you're supposed to have medical here. That is the rules in the UAE as it pertains through your employer when they proceed to go and apply for your residency visa, because they're going to ask for the policy number and all of that. If you work with someone and they're doing it on your behalf, you will not be able to get a visa, residency visa, without it. So that's just an FYI. It is pertinent that you have that so that you can facilitate moving on in the visa process. But if you're coming as a tourist, I'll say again, be sure that you have something, be it lots of cash to pay for out-of-pocket expenses, or have SOS International or whatever plan your company uses, because they do take all types of insurance here in the UAE. So it's just something to think about in that regard, okay? Now, let's move on to the pharmacies. So since I have been coming here to Dubai for 10 plus years, their situation with the pharmacies has changed. Let me back up a minute. So in terms of medical, if you go into, let's say, a clinic, a hospital, and you require treatment, they're going to ask you for your insurance card. If you don't have your insurance card, they will tell you how much approximately it will cost. So they may require a deposit depending on where you go: private clinic, public, private hospital, public hospital. So once all of your procedures and stuff are done, after you've actually seen the doctor, that would give them an exhaustive view as to what your total bill would be. Now you can ask, again, as I said, for an approximation, but you're going to have to pay up front. It's just the way it is. It's just how the system is here. Is it a bad thing? No, and here's why. So someone I knew recently, as in last week, had a medical procedure done. They had an operation, and this operation probably stateside would have been easily a little over $100,000, and that's even with insurance. So when you would take 20%, let's say a flat of $100,000, I think that you know how much that person would have had to come out of pocket. So here in Dubai, the entire procedure was like $15,800 some odd dollars once you convert the dirhams to dollars. And his out of pocket was $53. That is including his insurance. So even if he wasn't using his insurance and he paid the full amount, he still would have been cheaper here than in the United States, okay? So the UAE is a monarchy, and so a lot of areas here are governed and they set prices and certain things. But just overall, the quality of healthcare that you would get that you could not afford, let's say stateside, you could get it here for a fraction of the price. And just like anywhere, they have good doctors, they have bad doctors, and they still use Google reviews for all of that stuff, just so that you can know how much and how qualified, as well as reviews about these particular doctors. Okay, so there's something to think about. So moving right along, we're going to move on to the pharmacy. So how does pharmacies work here? So we're going to rewind the tape. As I said, I've been coming here for 10 plus years. What I will tell you is this. In that time, the UAE has done drastic regulations in place in terms of medicines. Things before that you could get, you could just walk up to the pharmacy and say, hey, let me get X, Y, and Z. They would give it to you. Well, I'm sure they changed these rules due to abuse of the system. It's what happens everywhere. When things begin to happen, they decide to make regulations for that. Now, not saying I agree with it or not, it just is what it is. So, again, 10 plus years ago, you could get just about anything under the sun without ever setting foot in a doctor's office. So if you were a person, let's say, that had, let's say, hypoglycemia or something, and the prescriptions that you used back in the States, you could easily get here, and they would actually probably be cheaper than what you would pay at home. You may not have needed a prescription for those, depending on what schedule and class they were in. And that included narcotics. Fast forward to 2020. It is very hard for you to go into a pharmacy without a prescription to get lots of things, lots of things. So I'll say this. If you are going to, Dubai is about to open up, okay, to the rest of the world at some point, because we're slowly getting easements of what's happening with the pandemic. And so eventually everything's going to open back up. So the UAE is getting ready to open. When it does, and the tourism industry begins to open back up, be mindful that if you have a condition or whatever, bring your prescriptions with you unless you want to go and see a doctor here. So if you don't want to see a doctor here, bring your prescriptions. They will tell you if you can get it or not. I'll give you an example. The same friend I was telling you about with the surgical procedure that happened last week, okay? This particular friend was checked out of the hospital, and after the procedure, of course, when someone has a surgery, it requires what? Pain medication. Dubai is very tight on issuing narcotics while you're at home. Why? Because they cannot watch you. So you may say, well, what did they prescribe this person when they had after they had a surgery? He was giving larger dosage of, let's say, Panadol for joint and bones, stuff like that. But they do not, you'd have to be, in a dire situation to get a narcotic to actually take it home. It's just the way it is here. They are going to give you stuff that may have a higher milligram count, but it's not considered a narcotic versus giving you a narcotic and sending you home with that. So pain management here, it's very hard to abuse pharmacies here now. Before it was so easy because, as I said, you could get everything under the sun here. Everything. And now it's not that way. So it's something for you to think about. Again, if you have a chronic issue, please bring your prescriptions with you. And just so you know, you may be able to get what you normally take for a chronic condition here cheaper than what you would even pay for your copay at home. It's just how it is. Okay? It's just how it is. So that's my spiel on pharmacies here. Bring your prescriptions because you never know what is on their list of banned items, what is on their list of controlled items, and you just want to be safe and not be found with something on your possession that you're not supposed to have, because they will confiscate it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So if you like this content, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And until next time, Lizzabitty is out.